Welcome back, Dynasty Citadel. We're going to go over underrated prospect. Somebody I think who should be getting more recognition and is not right now. The reason is he's a little bit older. I believe he is going to be 23, 24, probably 24. Been in school for a while. I'm not going to lie. Was doing a little bit of research. Noticed that, yeah, this man's been in school for a good little minute. But I don't think that should matter, to be honest with you. Let me get back where I'm supposed to be. But yeah, I don't think that should matter. He is going to be a super sleeper. Let's just put it like that. He's somebody that people don't really know about, haven't really heard anybody talk about. I've heard somebody talk about his teammate, which surprised me, to be honest with you, because I didn't necessarily. His teammate's okay, analytically, but he's not. This guy's not on any. He's not on PFF's draft. When I look at their stats on their big board, he's not on there, and I don't know why. But we're going to get into it. We're going to get into the prospect Andrew Armstrong. He's an Arkansas receiver. He's been in school for 6 years, from what I was looking up. He started off at A&M Commerce, freshman season, redshirted. Second season was canceled, COVID. Then he started playing. So really, he's played 4 seasons. He's just older prospect at this point. So those 2 seasons played with A&M Commerce. First season, really his freshman season, but redshirt sophomore season. Played in 10 games, had 15 receptions, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did average 19.8 yards per attempt. Second season, he had 62 receptions, 1,020 yards, 13 touchdowns. All right. Now we're like, okay, this is more what we're looking like and looking at. And the PFF grade looks like PFF started tracking him then. That freshman or that sophomore season, they could care less about. But the junior season, they like that. And he tracked really well, pretty good. I'll say I'm not gonna say really well, but really good. But I guess technically that was his junior season. But he plays 3 more seasons after this, and because of COVID, you have to and redshirted as a freshman anyway. So junior. So he transfers to Arkansas for technically his redshirt senior season. Has 56 receptions, 5 touchdowns, 764 yards. Kind of a down season. Analytically, took a step back, but this season, he had 1,100 yards, 78 receptions, 14.6 yards per catch, but only had 1 touchdown. Now, I believe probably had something to do with quarterback play if I had to take a guess. Really need to look into it a little bit more. But I think this could be a potential sleeper. Reason being, he's 6'4", 202. They said he measured in at 6'3 3/4. So let's give him just give him 6'4". Basically a 79-inch wingspan, basically 80-inch wingspan. What is that? 80 inch. That's my height, right? 6'6". 6'6" wingspan. I believe his vert was pretty decent. If he ran a 4.5. He ran a 4.5. I didn't realize he ran a 4.5. I thought he was in a 4.6. He ran a 4.5. 37.5-inch vert. 10.4 broad jump. Bench press, who cares? 11 reps. 3 cones, 6'9". So pretty good athlete, to be honest with you. And he's a bigger receiver. Ran a sub-7 3-cone drill. So that's really good. Strong lower body. Okay. So scouts, I believe, have him as a 7th round pick. And probably go undrafted. I think he's this draft's Jalen Coker. Now, Jalen Coker only played 4 seasons, and he had 2 good back-to-back seasons. Armstrong has 1, but this season is really good. On the PFF scale, I will show in just a second. Just looking, want to continue looking at stats for right now. On a PFF scale, just to get into it, offensively, 89.1, receiving, 89.4. All right. It looks like he didn't drop the ball that much this year. If he had any drops, he had 4 drops on, let's see how many catches, 78 catches, 118 targets this year. So he did good moving up in competition. That's my thing. I think he's a steal. I'm gonna show you some metrics here in a second. We're gonna really get into it here. But I think Armstrong's somebody that we're not looking at that we should be looking at. And when I start looking at the yards per route run, and I look at the man beating zone, he does both of those well. We'll get into it here in just a second. Let's go to some of his strengths. So some of his strengths, scouts are saying his catch radius. Of course, if he has 32-inch arms, I would say wingspan, that's 6'6". I would say you're going to win those 50-50 balls. 6'4", which helps. 6'4" at 4.5 speed. I'm going to say it's basically not Jaden Higgins, because Jaden Higgins is a little faster, but basically in that Jaden Higgins type mold. Let's see. It says 34 of his receptions went for first downs. And again, like I was mentioning, he is a zone beater. So, and we'll get into it a little bit more here in just a second. Saying his yak ability is pretty decent. I have to look because I didn't notice the yak ability when I was actually looking at his profile before. Does he break tackles? He does break tackles. He broke 16 this year, so that's pretty decent. Do we have yak at all in here? Yak at 5.3. That's pretty solid. His yards per route run is what I like, though. Overall, it's at 2.81. Okay, I know I like the 3, and that's why I like Jalen Coker, because Jalen's was over 3. But if we're going to look for somebody like Jalen Coker, we're not going to be able to find a perfect match just yet. So, the year before, he was at 209, but we know that was a down season for him when he just transferred to Arkansas. But back at A&M Commerce, he had 2.79 yards per route run. So, pretty good. Red zone potential for him. 6'4". You know, he had 13 touchdowns at A&M Commerce. Went to 5, but then it went to 1. So that's probably a little bit of an issue that it went to 1. But I'm not sure how the quarterback play was necessarily. And then as his blocking, now I'm just reading. He does give an effort on the blocking side of things, and that's always good. Somebody like Shanahan appreciates that, so maybe he could go somewhere like that. Now, they say his top end speed is not the best, but to be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie, separation, he beats man pretty well, and we'll get into PFF here in a second. They say his average burst on the line, his first step is not that great. 6'4". He's not a top prospect, so I don't expect that. Route running, it's okay. But I guess you do need good route running at least, because then you can put him in the slot. And then it says he struggles against press coverage. I'm not necessarily sure if that's true according to PFF. And we'll get into it. Touchdown production. Now that is the issue, because at A&M Commerce, I believe at D2, he was at 13. Goes to Arkansas on his down year, he has 5. This year, analytically, he was better and had 1. So that actually is an issue. So the comparison that is given is Jacoby Myers, which I'll take all day. Jacoby Myers has been, I believe, a wide receiver 2 the past 3 seasons. If he could be anything like that That is just a great pickup for a guy that will go probably undrafted in a lot of rookie drafts. Somebody that you could stash on. This is a true stash on the taxi squad when people are looking for players like this. So we're looking at projected draft capital now. They say day 3, but I'm not sure if he gets day 3. Analytically, probably should be higher. But when you start factoring in age, the touchdown production, that's probably going to drop him out, to be honest with you. But, and they say his athletic limitations, but I don't think there's really limitations, really. I think he should be a draft pick. I think he is a lot better than what people think. Okay? So, he'll probably be a possession receiver, which is fine. Let's see. It says a potential fit could be the Commanders. Do they have a big receiver? They got Debo, but anybody could use that. I said the Chiefs. I don't know how good he would be with the Chiefs, especially when Rashi comes back. And then they still have Juju there. So they have big receivers there. The Raiders and the Patriots, that is somewhere he could thrive. I know they already have Jacoby, but to have a 6'4" guy that could be another possession guy, especially the Patriots, they need somebody. They need an actual receiver. And don't let him be a wide receiver 1. But this is somebody that's a little bit older, like how Vele came in. Well, Vele was like 26, 27 as he came in as a rookie. So it's similar profile, because I'm pretty sure he's probably 24, probably about to turn 25. But I'm thinking he is a solid prospect and should be a lot better than what people think. I've been looking at his profile for a little while now, and let me switch screens. Let's dive into it a little bit more. Okay. Actually, I probably need to make this a little bit bigger. All right, cool. There we go. Y'all probably can see it a little bit better now. So, Andrew Armstrong, he offensively, down here as you can see, 89.1 PFF offensively. I like that a lot. Didn't play much in the slot. To be honest with you, I like that because that means he knows how to play out wide, and that means he knows how to beat defenders out wide. 4% drop rate. I'm going to say solid. Not bad. Let's see. Contested targets. I like this. 62.1%. I like that a ton. And that came on 29 targets. I enjoy that tremendously. When I look for receivers, me personally, I look for the contested catch rate. I like that to be about 47%, at least 47. I'll do a little bit of give or take, but I like 47. And then I like for you to be able to be at least 80 on the PFF chart against man. And we're about to check that out here in a second. And we'll probably see a few other prospects. I just realized y'all can't see it on the screen right now, but just take my word for it at the moment. So he's 62% on contested target. His ADOT is 11, kind of low, but doable. Yards per route run we mentioned earlier, 2.81. Yards after catch, had 417 total, 5.3. Solid. Out wide 90% of the time. I love it. I'm not going to lie, because that means he knows how to play out there. They can figure out from what I see, you can figure out how to teach somebody how to play in the slot. Being able to win outside, that's a total different beast. So I'm pretty sure Andrew Armstrong is somebody that's being overlooked. Let's get into. Let me switch my screen real quick, just to get into the second part of PFF. I like looking at the receiving versus scheme metric that they do have. Let's get back. So, and it's loading up right now. And what this allows me to do is see how good somebody is versus man, and then as well as to see how good someone is versus zone. And that's why I'm so high on Jaden Higgins, and that's why I'm high on Trey Harris. And I guess it'll load here in a second. All right, what I like to do though, as you see, Trey Harris is up there. Let's do minimum targets. I like to do 20%. Knocks out some people. All right. All right. Now let's take a look. Let's see. I'm doing regular in postseason. That's fine. All right. So we have Trey Harris up here. As you see, 95% receiving, and that's against man. Do they have the yards per route run? 10.4. Did it go up? That's crazy. There's no way. It was at 9 at one point. 10.4. What's the leaders? It's basically double. That's insane. That's insane. This is one of the guys when I start talking about 2026 that I'm looking at heavy. I'm looking at him heavy. But all right, let's get back to Armstrong because now I'm veering off the course. All right, let me figure out where Armstrong is because Ted is here at 3.5 against man. Where did Higgins go? Higgins is here at 3.13 against man. Armstrong shouldn't be that far down. Armstrong isn't. Armstrong's right here at the bottom of this list. Let me scroll down so everybody can see. So Armstrong is right here. He's at 83.3 against man, 2.6. 2.6 yards per route run. All right? That's pretty good. That means he's winning against man. I like to see that. I like to see that a lot. All right, now the other question is against zone. Against zone, and I guess Tet against zone this year wasn't that great, but you know who was pretty decent? Higgins, and that's why I like Higgins. And then Trey Harris, for that reason, that B76 on PFF and still average a 4. That's pretty good. Okay, but Andrew Armstrong. Let me go back to him. This is why I like him. 83 on the scale. Oh, I guess I can sort it out. 83.8 on the scale. 2.85 yards per route run. That is what I'm looking for. Typically, I look for 3. I like seeing 3 here. It makes, and if you look a little bit further down, there's somebody that is 3, which we'll get into in future videos. We have time before the draft. But when just looking at this, I think he can be the guy we call the sleeper of this draft. I truly think so. He has the talent. He has the chops for it. He really does because his contested catch against zone is 55. That means against man is higher. Yep, it's 66. Yeah, and quarterback rating against zone, what is that? Oh, that's best. That's 85. What's his rating on man, if I can find it? Do I see an RTG anywhere? I do. 69. That's not the best. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's not good. That's not good. It's not good. But I do like that I do like that he does win against man, and he does win against zone. So when you're looking for prospects, I'd like to see both of them, and that's why I'm high on Higgins because Higgins does well against both of them as well. So, and I have another sleeper in here, but he doesn't win against man that well. But that's what I see from Andrew Armstrong. I think he can be a sleeper in this class that nobody is talking about right now. Because I haven't seen him on anybody's board. I see people in the Reddit spaces talk about him just a little bit every now and then. But might as well get his name out there because I think he's somebody that everybody's sleeping on, that people need to do their research on and really talk about. Because he's one of those guys that could emerge and be like, man, where did he come from? He's been in plain sight this whole time. So Andrew Armstrong, everybody, look into him, look into his profile. Tell me what you think. I think he can actually be a pretty decent receiver. I will put him like on a Jalen Coker level. I will say that. No telling how good Jalen Coker could be. Now, Jalen Coker did have a higher yard per route run. I think he did better against man. I want to say he did. I have to really look back into it. But as far as getting a guy in your rookie drafts that's not going to get drafted, this is where you look. This is how you find one of those guys that, oh, this is found money. Let him have a few good weeks. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be this great player. I'm not saying that he's going to be Puka Nacua. He's not. Puka Nacua, when I look at this, Puka was on the receiving grade. Him and Rashi were top on the receiving grade, on zone, and 4 yards per route run were over 3. Both of them were. So nobody really. And the thing is, they played out wide. You have to remember that, play out wide, because you see Jamal Pritchett up here at the top, but he plays in slot, and I forget what school he plays for. But so when looking at these guys, you really have to dive deep. League Neighbors was another one. When I look back at these numbers last year, he was the top of the chart on here. And that is another reason I believe what gives me pause about, my goodness, Luther Burden. Because Luther Burden last year, not this year, last year, I believe was second to Malik Neighbors in zone. So we'll see. But back to Andrew Armstrong, I think he's a sleeper that you can get for free money. And then if he has good weeks, if he happens to have good weeks during the season, trade him for a second. You just tear up. If he happens to be a great player, you will lose out on that. But what's the chances of that? I think he could be a good player. I'm not saying he will be a great player. I think he'll be a Jalen Coker type player who will have some good weeks, will have some highs, some lows. And if you can get anything for him, cool. If he becomes a wide receiver 3 on your roster, like stat-wise, hey, you might keep him. But for me, you can always tear up from guys like that because people are going to want him just off of hype and the buzz. So if he's somebody that you can get for free, go ahead and get him. I'm going to, after my drafts, I'm going to pick him up everywhere. I did the same with Coker last year. There's another guy called Hayden Hatton that I'm trying to see if he plays in the NFL this year. If he does, I'm going to pick him up as well. So I guess I gave you another sleeper. But yeah, those are Andrew Armstrong. I believe this is a guy that you need to pick up in your rookie drafts. This is a guy who could be, a 2-3 week wonder, and then you could trade him. And I know this is a video about him being underrated, but you gotta be smart. You gotta be smart in these in your leagues. And when you have found money, make sure you don't waste it. All right, guys, that's gonna be the end of this video. I'll say make sure to like, share, and subscribe because I don't say that. So make sure to do that, and I will see y'all later.